It was New Year's Eve 2019 when health officials in China admitted that they had a problem.
Health authorities have activated their most serious response level
after an outbreak of a new type of viral pneumonia
in central China.
A rapidly growing number of people were developing a dry cough and fever before getting a pneumonia, and for some, it turned fatal. Doctors have named the disease COVID-19 or Coronavirus Disease 2019, indicating that a type of virus is causing the illness. When they tried to trace its origin, they found a likely source, this food market in Wuhan, China. As of May 17, 2021, the outbreak of the COVID-19 has spread to 6 continents, and almost 3.4 million people have died after contracting the respiratory virus. As COVID-19 cases surge around the world, owing to new strains of the virus, many countries have gone back to imposing lockdown to curb the spread of the virus. The situation turned complex when cases started rising in February 2021, when India reported a second wave of an infection with an average of about 10,000 infections in a day. India's second wave of COVID-19 infection show no sign of slowing down, as the country's overwhelmed healthcare system faces supply shortages such as hospital beds, oxygens, medicines, and vaccines. But the situation progressively worsened on April 2021, ending the month by repeatedly setting new global records for the daily cases. COVID-19 pandemic has ushered in a new climate of uncertainty. The question is, how global collaboration is heading to a post-pandemic world.
The coronavirus disease, or COVID-19, has caused major outbreaks, confusion, fear, and chaos all around the globe. India now holds the dubious distinction of having the second highest number of COVID-19 cases, trailing only to the United States of America. As India settles to live with the new normal of rising COVID-19 cases and deaths, it is important to assess its impact to plan for a better recovery. The virulence of the second wave in India seems to be related to a confluence of factors, such as government complacency, driven by poor data collection and being in denial about the reality of the data, a new variant with a hockey stick-shaped growth curve, and some very large unregulated religious and political events. India is itself the 5th largest economy of the world and contributes significantly to the world's economic growth. With relatively high growth rates and its large size, it has a significant impact to the world's economy. Given all these issues and humanitarian crisis unfolding, it has become an imperative to the world to act and quickly help India. If the leading power fails to do everything they can to help out, India's crisis will become a world crisis in a short order, not only for health but also for economy.
As we envision the future of our country and community after conquering COVID-19, we realize that while things may not return to normal, we are on our way to a much better future, and how we, working together, can make it so, though it takes a lot of effort to defeat the coronavirus.
Through this, global society should take a stand and plan long-term to ensure that these arduous efforts are not in vain. With all these experiences and these hard times, here are several components of a post-pandemic future.
The COVID-19 pandemic illustrates that countries are not immune to the threat of infectious disease in a manner independent to their wealth. Rich or poor, every country will still be affected by the impact of the pandemic. In a globalized world, domestic economic prosperity in one country is tied to economic stability in the rest of the world.
The current pandemic shows that political leaders have a tendency to react slowly in the face of unprecedented threats. In the case of COVID-19, acting early has made the difference between a prolonged full-scale lockdown and a high number of casualties, and much less dramatic measures such as increased health screening at borders, contact tracing, and public information campaigns.
In the early phases of the pandemic, most countries hesitated to introduce strict and unpopular measures to stop the pandemic early on, in particular if they lacked previous experience with epidemics. Public support is critical for specific measures to control and stop the spread of the virus.
From COVID-19, we learn that accelerated and well-organized collaboration in global crises can be pivotally important. However, countries need to be aligned on the fundamental goals through international collaboration to significantly reduce the risk and impact of this pandemic.
And lastly, the COVID-19 pandemic has put scientific expertise into an unusual spotlight. In many countries, virologists and epidemiologists are receiving unprecedented media attention, with some reaching regular audiences in the millions through social media or podcast formats. The scientific community has been hailed for demonstrating rapidness and a high level of international collaboration in the response to COVID-19 and for the development of a vaccine.
The COVID-19 pandemic has once again shown the value of international cooperation. Despite the challenges that many countries have faced, a vision over the horizon of this current pandemic shows not just desperation and helplessness, but also a silver lining of international collectiveness and pursuit towards innovation in both developing and developed countries. Our battle with the coronavirus have shown both the strength and weaknesses of our old normal life, and these lessons will help us navigate in moving forward. The pandemic has not only raised the expectation we have in the name of science and progress, but it also highlighted that we are all connected, that there's still humanity within us, and thus only prove that global solution requires global collaboration.